Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my live stream. It's me, Tommy. As always, Tommy Calloway channel. We do the Getting Lit live stream every Thursday night. Ooh, I'm getting a warning from YouTube. The stream's current bitrate is a little bit low. Hope I didn't screw up any settings there. While I troubleshoot this, we're gonna let people show up. All right. Now it looks like it's sending 5 megabits per second, but YouTube is still warning me. Whatever. YouTube always messes up the live stream situations. Anyways, check this out, guys. Let's hit this comments button. I got this now. First comment of the night. We got Ben Ibra, LOL. It's 9 for him. Or her. Can't assume. It's a Ben. It's probably him. Art, as always. I always see you commenting on my videos. Thanks for showing up. Holy crap. Catching one on time. Tech Maniac, hey. Thanks for showing up, man. Ben says, which country are you? Let's see. I'm in the United States. USA. I'm in California. And then saludos desde Argentina. I think that's hello from Argentina. Yeah, sweet comment feature. This is actually a tool that Aaron Parecki helped or completely developed in combination with someone else. So it's a handy little tool you can use to click and go through your comments. It took a little bit of setup with OBS, but I got that all figured out. Speaking of OBS and stuff, I can finally just take one finger and hit the button and play a clip. And then just reset it back to this. Oh, I screwed that up. Back to the comments. There we are. So I've been figuring out this whole Stream Deck situation. Let's go over to the whiskey cam right here. You can see the Stream Deck I have right here. I've been figuring this out over the past week when I've been sick and everything. But the whiskey cam is now empty and we got to fill it up with some whiskey. It's going to be Scotch. I'm going to be drinking this for a little while. It's the Highland Park full volume. I couldn't find Highland Park 18, so I went with this. Still pretty good. It's a little bit peaty, a little bit smoky tasting. But I like Highland Park. There we are. Cheers. And then I can also just hit one button and go back to a little shout out to my Twitter and my Instagram handle there. Mr. Camera Junkie, thank you. Yes, feeling quite better. Antibiotics are amazing. So I took those. Now we're better. All right, so let's talk about the lighting for tonight. It's nothing special. I wanted to go for a less of an RGB kind of setup. I know I usually have all the full colors and everything. But tonight I just went with some whites and a little bit of tungsten. So we have the Rotolite Titan X2 over here, giving me this soft wash from the side. Then again, I have so this is a 2x1 diffused panel. And then up here we've got just the Intelitech LC120. It's permanently mounted up to my ceiling there. So it's just, I usually use it all the time. And then we got a little bit of a spam in the chat here. Gonna go ahead and put this user on a timeout. There we go. I think that worked out. And then over here behind me, we've got the Falcon Eyes RX818. It's just giving me another kind of soft light around the shoulders and the hair. It's a nice little hair light. And behind me, we've got the Aperture Nova and the Rotolite Titan X1. They're not really doing anything other than just being cute little accent lights. And then finally for the whiskey cam tonight, back over here, we just have the little Nanlite, which one is this? The Lidolite 5C. And that's giving us that nice little warm wrap around the glass of whiskey. Reset, there we are. And there we are. That's the setup for this evening. We can go back to some comments here. Mr. Camera Junkie, hi. Thank you for showing up, sir. Alex Gear and Tech. Hey, Tommy. Up early today for a stream, so thought may as well join you. Not sure I'll be getting lit, though. This is only 6 a.m. in the UK. Yeah, that's pretty early to be getting lit. But thanks for showing up anyways. Appreciate it. And those are the most expensive practicals, I'm pretty sure you meant to say. Yeah, I mean, if you got them in the scene, in the shot, you might as well turn them on. I was thinking about doing like the full blue background, a bunch of colors and stuff, but sometimes you don't always need colors, RGB, I think, gets a bad rep sometimes because it's overused. I know I'm pretty guilty of that myself. I really like the colors that these lights can provide, but you don't always need to use them. And, it's just whatever. I just think this looks nice. It looks nice and clean tonight. Yeah. So I got the Stream Deck. I got it from Adorama. It was about $100 and something. B&H was sold out as always. Pretty sure it would have been back ordered for months. Pretty much everything I've ordered from B&H has been back ordered for months. But then anything I've ordered from Adorama has shipped immediately and showed up like within 12 hours. So I've been buying from Adorama lately simply because of that. I don't know if anyone else has had a similar experience. Yes, practicals. Nice. Borna says, this is a nice change. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's don't always got to be all colorful and crazy. I agree. I also like to do just a bunch of tungsten sometimes. I've done that a couple times. Keep it nice and warm. Make it look like it is just kind of it's a very different feeling than what I usually have in here. So Q&A, I don't have huge plans for this evening's stream other than to just answer some questions if you guys have any about some of the lights that I've been reviewing over the past forever on YouTube. Have some whiskey, just hang out with you guys. Fake Shemp Taboo says, I really like the Aperture Nova P300C. What would you recommend or other portable LED lights for production? Perhaps Lowell Total LED Kit. Only bummer is that those are only daylight 5600 Kelvin. What would I recommend for production? Well, if I'm pulling from my experience here, my experience is usually I'm filming in my YouTube studio. I'm not lugging a bunch of stuff around and creating, productions or being paid for work really. So this is an interesting question. I know that a lot of professionals probably would be able to weigh in a little bit better than I would. But the Nova is an incredible value based on the features it has, the amount of output that it offers, particularly if you also get the VMAP battery adapter. I would say if you're using it for production, definitely get it with the travel case. The few times that I have taken lights around with me, it's been a complete pain, except for the ones that I have travel cases for. It's just you can't take it anywhere without it. Otherwise, it might fall down in your truck or your van or whatever and get broken. So get it with a production case. If you have access to wall power, you don't need to spend money on the battery adapter, and it's the most light for the value. So if you were going to get one light, and the Nova is an excellent choice for that. If you need a light that is lightweight, do not get the Nova. It's heavy, There's options that are more lightweight, that are easier to carry around, and offer similar levels of output. Just depends kind of what your budget is. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's my answer. Art says same with Adorama. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what it is. B&H used to be super fast on shipping, but I guess too many people are buying from them lately. Wub wub. All right. That's a good, solid comment. Thanks for showing up, Nils. Mr. Camera Junkie says, after a couple weeks, what do you think of the Godox RGB tube lights? I really like them. I haven't had any problems with them. I know someone sent me a screenshot or a picture of theirs. They had one of the little function buttons pop off somehow. I don't know what caused that, other than just, maybe it was a build quality thing, but I haven't had any problems with mine personally. And I really like them. I think that they're one of the best budget tube lights available, especially if you have them all plugged in different corners of the room. It's just, they're handy, you know? I like them a lot. I think that they've done a really good job with those tube lights. Vibhu Jais Swal, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Hey Tommy, what's the difference between 8-bit plus FRC and 10-bit? I'm really confused. FRC, you're gonna have to let me know what that means. Was that full range color? I really don't know what FRC stands for. Maybe that's just me. Let me know what that means, and then maybe I can weigh in. Damn it, Tommy. Thank you, Ryan. You get a cheers. Let's go to the whiskey can for a second. Boom. That's always fun. FRC. I don't know if I've seen that abbreviation before. Let's get back through some of these comments here. Let's see. Borna Rang says, new Godox tube better than Pavo. Sorry, I haven't had the chance to watch that video. I don't think they're better than the Pavo tubes. I think that the build quality on the Pavo tubes is still better. I think that the Pavo tubes would last longer. The Ledgo Altitube that I have, that one is definitely brighter. I don't know. It's, Godox is the affordable light. It has decent, it feels like it's a decent build quality, though, the Pavo tubes and the Alta tubes from Nanlite and Ledgo, they seem just a notch higher, a level up in terms of build quality. So there's that. The Godox tubes also have a mobile app, and you can control those with a mobile app, which is pretty handy. So that's another thing to consider. Kobe says, what are your thoughts on Roger Deakins' lighting style? The DP for Blade Runner 2049 and a crazy number of other famous movies. If you've watched any of my other live streams, I take a little bit of inspiration from that sometimes. I really like his lighting style. I think it's fantastic. It's also an artistic choice. And art is subjective. So some people like it, some people don't. I think it's great, and I think it's fun to look at, and it's artistic. I like it. Nils Code says, I'm going to need a Twitter DM from you on how you did that message embedding. Do you mean this right here? How we've got these little your comments right here? Hey, someone throw a super chat. Maybe it does something special for that. That'd be cool. Just $1. I'll send it back. I'm just curious. So I got this extension from Aaron Parecki. He built it, or I think he built it with. He helped develop it with someone else. It's really quite interesting. So you get a Chrome extension, you install it, and then you open the pop-out chat on the Chrome window, and then you basically just click on the messages as they scroll up, and then it will mark the message as read, and then it will it'll gray it out so you don't accidentally click on it again. So it's really easy to keep track of where you are. They did a really good job of it. And Ryan came in with the $5. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Oh, see, I need to change the sizing a little bit. We got $5, man. Thanks so much. Yeah. So it does all this. That's a fantastic little plugin just for Chrome. It's free, It's on GitHub. But yeah, I'll post a link to that in the description of this live stream when I'm done with it, so you guys can find it and download it. And Ryan, I'll send this $5 back to you, but I'm also gonna forward an additional $5 onto Aaron Parecki for showing me this extension and helping create it. Fantastic. It works out real well. Ryan says, do the Godox tubes have full diffusion over the front of them, or can you see the LEDs through the tube in a shot? It depends. So I've noticed when I have depending on the intensity and my exposure, you can kind of make out where the LEDs are, but it's got a full frosted diffusion over it. So like when it's at 5600 Kelvin, it looks like it's just one solid tube, like one solid fluorescent light type situation. But also, if you watch my video over, you'll see that when I'm going through the RGB modes in certain colors, it looks like you can see the beads. I don't know if that would, if that would impact your shot. If it was like reflecting off of your face, it might still look like a full tube. It just really depends on the intensity levels and your exposure. I've noticed sometimes with certain lights that look like to my eyes that it's a flat panel. If you like crank up your shutter speed and mess with the exposure, but you can still make out the LEDs, and that's what's happening with those tubes. You can probably understand what I'm saying if you've played with a lot of lights like that. Vipu, here we go. Following up on your question there. 8-bit plus frame rate control is often marketed as 10-bit, but not true 10-bit. With frame rate control. Okay, FRC, frame rate control. I've never heard frame rate control. All right, let's go back and find your other question. Hey, Tommy, what's the difference between 8-bit plus frame rate control and 10-bit? Okay, so I would say there's a video by Gerald Undone, I'm pretty sure. He's covered all the extremely technical topics, but 8-bit and 10-bit it's the way the color is recorded onto the sensor or recorded in terms of the file, right? So you've got, there's luma levels, and then there's color, red, green, and blue. And you know what? I'm not even going to make a fool of myself trying to explain it. Look up Gerald Undone's video on 10-bit. I think I just have to search Gerald Undone 10-bit explanation or something like that. And then you'll really understand what it means. I can't explain it back to you, but I feel like I know what I'm doing when I pick 10-bit and pick 8-bit. So, I guess that's all I got. Yes, sweet. Here we go. Tedinson Films. How about the software for this streaming? Show the comments, chat. Yes. So the software is Chrome. Let me explain. Hang on. Let me explain my full streaming setup because it's taken me a while to be able to get it to do this. And let's see if I can do my split screen. Yeah, split screen. Okay. So getting this all figured out has taken a while. First off, to get my stream to YouTube, I use the ATEM Mini Pro. And that's plugged into my router, right? So when I hit on air on my ATEM Mini Pro, my live stream studio in YouTube will show that I'm live. I'll see my stream in YouTube, right? It doesn't even have to be connected to my computer. I can turn my computer off and still live stream if I didn't want to use all the extra stuff that I'm using like OBS for. Now, even though I'm using the ATEM Mini Pro, I still need to use OBS and the Stream Deck in order to use these macros and show these comments like this, right? So I have OBS plugged into, first off, sorry. I have a USB-C out from my Mac into input number 2 on my ATEM Mini Pro. So the HDMI input for my ATEM Mini Pro is just my computer. It's a computer screen, right? It's just like another monitor for my Mac. But I don't use that monitor for anything. I load up OBS and then I basically project what OBS sees onto the Blackmagic Designs ATEM Mini Pro port, which is port 2. So whatever is coming out of OBS is just going on to the ATEM Mini Pro. And then I finally got the Stream Deck, this guy right here, and that will let me run macros that I set up in the ATEM Mini Pro Studio thing, right? Because you can record macros, but then you can also create macros on top of those macros with the Stream Deck, and you can set delays on them. So I can hit one button and then it will switch the scene that I have in OBS to one of the various different scenes that I've already set up. Then it can wait 250 milliseconds, and then it can switch the input on my A10 Mini Pro to input number 2. And then it can wait another 100 milliseconds, and then it can run a macro that I've already created on the A10 Mini Pro, which is how earlier in the stream, when it first started, I ran that clip, which is I've assigned essentially this button right here. When I click it, it's going to change the scene on the A10 Mini Pro to the blank scene, which will hide the comments, wait a couple seconds, change the input from this camera to my computer screen. Then it will change the scene in OBS to the scene that I've already set up with that clip. And then it will play that clip. And so watch, I'm going to hit that button right now. And then I made another macro, which I just clicked and interrupted, which is reset camera 1, which will, oh, I think I messed that up. Yeah, I messed that up. Whoops. There, nobody's perfect. So you have to be extremely careful with all the macros that you set up. And because if you miss one thing, you might still be on the wrong scene or something else might be on the screen. You have to be meticulous in setting them up. But once it's set up, it leaves for a pretty interesting and smooth streaming experience. So you're not trying to alt tab, command tab, and switch windows and pick scenes and click videos. I just want to be able to hit a button and then do something. And that's the way I have this set up. So I've created a bunch of macros on the A10 Mini Pro, but then you can assign those macros to buttons. So you don't have to have the A10 Mini Pro Studio open in order to run those macros. Getting it to this point was really complicated, but now that it's here, I feel pretty capable in terms of what's happening, what the downstream key is doing, what different scenes do in OBS. So OBS is essentially running input number 2 on my live stream of the A10 Mini Pro. And then using the downstream keys, I'm able to key out different colors and crops in order to show this comment thread. I'm not the guy to teach you all this stuff. There's already videos by Aaron Parecki and Photo Joseph that have already taught, they've gone over all this stuff in pretty good detail. And then there's a new guy who's doing extremely in-depth tutorials on the Stream Deck, the A10 Mini Pro, OBS Companion, which lets you chain those different levels of macros together. And remind me, and then I'll add that guy's link in the description of this video too. But I had to reference his videos in order to learn how to use the Stream Deck. But anyways, there's a lot of amazing information from all these creators online to help get these stream setups figured out. Yeah, actually, we'll do this question and then I'm going to take a sip of whiskey. Zayad Beg says, for someone starting, which light do you recommend, for starters? For starters, what are you going to be filming? And what is your budget? That's a difficult question to answer if I don't know how much you're willing to spend. I mean, are you going to be filming outdoors in the rain and you need a really bright light that can be VMAT battery powered? Probably not if you're a starter. I would say, first, the budget that I recommend for someone who's just getting started, if you want good lighting, then you should look forward to spending about as much as you've spent on your camera and your lens setup on lighting. And that's a good start. I did a video on what different lights you can get at what different price ranges. Watch that one, and then maybe that one can give you kind of a guide on getting started. JBS Films. Hey Tommy, I'm having difficulty choosing between the Forza 500 and the Aperture 600. Which one do you recommend? I would personally recommend Aperture because I have a lot of Aperture products. I don't have any Forza products, and this is just off of my own experience. I know Aperture products are generally pretty high quality, and they also have a very high demand. So in the case that you needed to resell your gear, you would have a much easier time reselling the Aperture 600 than you would the Forza 500, because more people are looking for the Aperture 600. So just based on that, you'd probably be able to extract your money out of it in the future a lot easier. And also, I know that the Aperture 600 is a quality product. I don't have any experience with the Forza 500, really with any Forza lights. So I can't tell you whether or not that one's better or worse, but what I do know is that the Aperture lights are quality products. Ryan Cow. I guess my concern would be for use as practicals, would want them to look like solid bars of lights. Solid bars of light. Yeah. I guess it depends. Rewatch my video on those tubes, and then you be the judge, I think. I had those lights at about like 10 to 20% during the filming of that video for the most part. So you might, in some cases, need to throw a little bit additional diffusion on them. But then again, you might not, maybe hit me up a little bit later and I'll play with them some, and then, we can see what happens there. Actually, maybe I could pull them here after I take another sip of whiskey. I'll just pull one out and we'll play with it a little bit. How about that? If this is a Q&A, so there, I'll pull a light out and then we'll see what it does. So stick around. Kobe says, just a thought, but it might be cool if your live stream had a graphic intro now that you have these cool new features at the press of a button. Yeah, I was thinking about having like a whole animated, like maybe some clips of some B-roll and stuff, and some cool sound effects like the air horns and the whiskey camp, something like that. I don't know. The problem that I found with this was that all of my videos I film in 24 frames per second, but the live streams are always in 30 frames per second. And that's because the A10 Mini Pro, that's because YouTube will only do 30 FPS live streams now. So any of the clips that I show, they have to be, if they're not filmed in 30 frames per second, they just look a little bit jittery. And all of the exciting clips that I want to share are usually slider shots of some kind, or like smooth motion shots. And it just looks not fantastic. So I need to film a bunch of crap in 30 frames per second so I can use it specifically for stuff on the live stream. So that's why I don't have any like a whole bunch of motion graphics and stuff yet. Leroy DaCosta, is the Godox TL60 worth buying? Yeah, it is. I like it a lot. I'd say buy 1 or 2 first instead of like the 4 kit if you're on the fence. If you don't like it, return it. It's a solid light. Like I said, I still have mine. I haven't sold it. Usually if there's a light that I don't like, I'll sell it right away when I'm done with it. And I still see myself using this in future projects. So there you go. You're welcome. Alex, Gear and Tech, man, this is great. I feel like a video on this would be super useful. I think that you're probably talking about the whole live stream setup. Maybe I'll do that. Wayne says, thoughts on the Aperture 200X? If I was going to get one of the 200X or 100X or 100D or 200D, I would probably go with the 60X instead. I think that the 60X is it offers significantly more value for that price. So those are my thoughts. I think that the build quality and the longevity of the 60X would be just a significantly better investment. PGT Designs, geez, I love the setup. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Here, let's do a split screen. Look at that. Still got the comment on there. That worked out pretty well. Tennyson Films, excellent. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. Jake Meyer, hey Tawny, having a hard time finding Novas in stock anywhere. Is the Rhodolite Titan worth the upgrade? Yeah, I mean, I bought one, you know. Actually, I bought the Rhodolite Titan X2. That's my whole thing is, look guys, I don't need to buy more lights. If anyone doesn't need to, it's me. I've got a ridiculous amount of lights, and I paid for the Rhodolite Titan X2. So if that says anything about is a light worth it, absolutely. But I would say definitely get the rental kit, which comes with the barn doors and the flight case, because if you're going to be carrying this thing around and trying to get your money out of it, the case is super solid. It has wheels on it. It's like a requirement if you're going to have this light and you're going to take it around anywhere, because if you're going to spend that much on a light, you don't want to, throw it around like a piece of junk. So yes, like I said, I bought the Titan X2. I love the Titan X1. I have them both. They're not going anywhere. Because it replaces two lights. From both of them replace multiple lights that I had to use. It's a hard light and a soft light. It's full color, amazing color quality. It's just fantastic. And you can mount it like on a super clamp, which is really cool. So yes, I like the light a lot. I would say it's worth it. D2D Films, hey Tommy, that was me saying the photo of the missing function button. We have no idea of how or why it fell off. Never treated them rough. Yeah, that's really weird. I wonder if it's a quality issue. Like I said, the build quality on the Pavo tubes are just, it's just a little bit better. It probably lasts a little bit longer. Pavo tubes, Alta tubes, and stuff like that. All right, I'm going to take a real quick break from the comments here, and I'm going to pull out the Godox tube so I can show Ryan and anyone else that was curious if you could use them as practicals in the background and if you'll see the beads and whatnot. So just give me a second here. Okay. Okay, let's fix the whiskey cam. There we go. Okay. So you guys seem to be really curious about these things. Let's talk about them. How should I rig these up, you guys? What do you think? All right. I know. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's take a look here. That's no good. Okay, there we go. We're going to answer your questions right now. Okay, so it is at 7% power. I can see the beads, but the camera can't see the beads, right? So it's got like a small diffusion. The thing is, if you put too much diffusion on it, you start canceling out some of the output. Let's check the colors. What do you think? Those look pretty good. It's at 33%. If I move it down to 1%, red, green. Here, at red, it looks like you can kind of see the little LEDs in there, right? but that's at 1%. Let's bump that up a bit, move it to 21%. They kind of all start blurring together. There. Hope that answers your question. Let's move on. All right. Cool. I said I was going to do just plain white colors today, so let's do that. Okay, let's take a sip of some whiskey. Comments. All right. Hey T, a few weeks you recommended the Falcon Eyes RX-18 TDX Mark II. I ordered one and installed it in my studio. It's awesome, especially for such a challenging setup. I'm still working on. Many thanks. Well, you're welcome, and thank you for the feedback. Yeah, I think everyone should have one of those lights. They are spectacular. Like I said, I'm using it right now as my kind of back outline light right here, the shoulders. I like it a lot. Leroy DeCoste says, can the Godox TL60 light up a dark room in terms of a small film set? It's not a bright light. Like I said, at about 1 meter, a single one of those is like, I don't know, 500 lux, if I recall correctly, which is it's not super bright. It's a 60 watt light and it's a tube light. If you get the 4-light kit and you have some fast glass or you bump up your ISO a little bit, maybe. I did an actual example of how bright a single one of them is at like f4 in my review of it. So go watch that video in its entirety, and there's several examples in there of how you could use them and what it looks like at different settings. Art says, Jevin Dovey made a compelling case for shooting 30 FPS instead of 24. Yeah, I mean, look at me, right? I want to live stream, but all my stuff is in 24 frames per second, and I can only live stream in 30 frames per second. So, I mean, yeah, 30 FPS has this place, which is online content, really. A7S III versus FX3 thoughts. The FX3 is more expensive. It does not have an EVF, and I don't need it. I think that the FX3 would be cool if you wanted to fly it on a drone because it has like new extra mounting points and stuff. But now the A7S III also has S-Cinetone, so it's for me, I don't need it and I don't want it because the problem that I was trying to get away from with all the different cameras that I had originally, which is why I bought 3 A7S IIIs and sold everything else, was I get into like a creative, like gridlock, I guess you could call it. Like I sit there and I'll literally stand there for 10, 20 minutes just considering what is the best piece of equipment to use for this. Like which camera should I use? Which lens should I use? What light should I use? What thing should I use for this shot to look the best? And it's just a stupid problem to have, right? It's like, I don't know. Like I know that I'm extremely fortunate and I have a lot of options, but because of those options, I wasn't making anything. So I got good with I think I got pretty decent anyways with the A7S III. And instead of buying a whole bunch of new cameras and going through that whole thing, I just bought 3 of them and sold everything else. And I've been way more productive lately. So I like the A7S III because it's nice if you're outside to have an EVF once in a while, I guess. Art says, oh, right, specifically for YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to watch that video. Michael Worth says, yay, caught a live broadcast. Well, cheers, man. Boom. Here, you get a split screen. Yeah, split screen. Here we go. Cheers. Thank you for making it to the live broadcast. Jake Meyer says, thanks for the in-depth answer on the Rotolight versus the Nova. I also love lighting. Appreciate your channel. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you. Lucius Rex, what do you think about the Luxley lights and how do they compare to Aperture? So I don't have any of the Luxley lights that I was interested in, that I've been looking at. So I don't have any hands-on experience for you to offer. What I know, I guess, is I said it earlier that the demand for aperture products is higher. So buying them, particularly the new products, sometimes you will run into issues with trying to find inventory. But if you're reselling it on the used market, it'll be a lot easier to do that. So that's really the only valid thought that I can give you in terms of Luxley versus aperture, because I don't have any hands-on experience with Luxley. Vincent says, "Hi Tom, late to the show, joined just after morning wake up. Hi from India." Well, hello from California. Rosalind Records is pretty cool. Let's see. What camera are you using? Well, like I said, A7S III over here. This is on the 35mm f1.8 prime, just the Sony lens. It's not a zoom lens. And over here on camera number 3, which is the Whiskey Cam, this is also the Sony A7S III. This is on the 24-70 f2.8 Sigma, the Sigma f2.8 24-70. So yeah, there we go. Those are my cameras. I use Sony A7S III for everything on my channel, at least at this point moving forward. The only other camera that I might eventually consider is the FX6, and that is if I ever decide to leave my house and go film stuff outside. Kobe Markham. Short of automated effects like simulated fire, I'm having trouble wrapping my head around not just using gels for color if the light is constant. Is real-time variable color really a game changer? Yeah, I think so. You might not always have all the gels that you want. If you're trying to gel an entire panel, you need a large gel. Gels can burn out and or be damaged and need to be replaced. It's additional, but the most important thing is swapping out gels or gelling your lights takes time. And a lot of lights, you can change them wirelessly, right? The color that you can do wireless controls or DMX, and being able to, if you needed to gel 5 fixtures, instead of getting your gels and your ladder or pulling down the C-stand or whatever and swapping the lights and taping them up and making sure it looks right. And then because you put the gel on it, you'll also have to change the intensity probably, because when you put a gel on it, you block some light. That's a time-consuming process. And my kind of thoughts on spending money on my production, my YouTube studio, is if I can spend $1 and that will save me any time, then it's worth that money, because it will continue to save me time in the future. If you have all the time in the world and you don't mind that, then do that. Now, the only thing that you would still need gels for is certain colors. There's certain saturations of colors that you can only get kind of close to with the latest RGB WCL, the 6 or 7 color channel chips. But there's like a particular yellow or a particular cyan type blue that you can only achieve with gels. And that's really the only case that I would use gels for. Other than that, using the full color lights saves you time. And if time is money, then that's important to you, then yes, it is 100% a game changer and worth it, in my opinion. Topic Ruben, thank you for showing up, man. What's up, Tommy? Cheers from Italy. Having breakfast. Breakfast sounds good. I want some breakfast. I mean, it's 10:45 at night here, but breakfast is always good. I want bacon. Spruce Tower, curious, does anyone still use Dito lights? I have 2 DLH4s that I've had sitting around for a while. Yeah, I mean, it's a light, right? It's if it's a light, you can use it. I have an Arri 650 Plus tungsten, which I've turned on once, and then I turned it off. It's incredibly dangerous to use those type of lights indoors these days, and they take a ton of power, and they'll blow my circuit breakers. And I mean, the quality is great, but it's just not worth it to me. Spruce Tower, started using them in my studio as part of the step, and they're great. Oh, the Dito lights. Yeah, if they work, use them. That's what it is. If it works for you, do it. The new technology and the new lights, they're awesome and they save time and they do things that are meant to make your job easier. But if you don't need them or you already have a process that works, you don't need to spend money on new stuff all the time, right? Michael Worth, cheers. Oh, thanks for showing up, man. You get let's go to the whiskey cam. And by the way, this is my Instagram and Twitter handle, TG Calloway. Follow me there if you haven't already and you want to continue the conversation after the stream. All right, back to this. Topic Rubin, just got the Aperture MC, amazing little light. Yeah, they are fun. You can stick them in pretty much anywhere. It's about the same size as this little guy here. And I mean, these size lights are so handy for just making things look interesting, and you can hide them really easy. I like them a lot. Nick Dubisa says, do you know of a pocket light with a long battery life and good brightness? Well, there's a few. I've done a showdown of pocket lights. It was about a year, maybe a year and a half ago now. There's now like several pocket light showdowns on the internet that compare, tons of these things because there are just so many of them now. You can also get lights that are NPF battery powered, Sony NP, L series batteries or whatever. If you need additional battery life beyond what the rechargeable kind offer, you can plug them into USB like I've done with this one. This one's plugged into a VMAT battery with a USB port just because it's, you can power it over VMAT now like that. The first generation of these lights all needed to be charged before you used them, and then they couldn't charge while you were using them, but you can do that now. So battery life can be gotten around now. I've never had a problem with the Aperture MC lights. I like them a lot, and they integrate with all the other Aperture Sidus-Link lights. Vincent Xavier says, I'm now waiting for the A7 IV. Waited for it for nearly a year. Do you think Sony will release it before early 22? That's a good question. I'd say look at the time between when Sony released the A7 S2 and the A7 III. I guess, look at the timeline differences and then see, maybe it'll follow that timeline. Anything that I tell you is just going to be speculation. That's it. Just realize you're drinking Highland Park. I'm grabbing my Highland Park and Drambu. I can never pronounce that. And making a rusty nail. Hell yeah. Cheers, man. Yeah, Highland Park is where it's my favorite. Yeah, what are you drinking tonight? Whiskey Cam showed me. Yeah, let's follow that. Let's follow up there. So this is the Highland Park full volume. It is a single malt Scotch whiskey. It's this one's kind of peaty, like it's kind of smoky tasting. My favorite is Highland Park 18. I've had the bottle of 25 and a bottle of 30, and those there was a hole in those bottles. They disappeared pretty quickly. So, anyways, 18. I think that it's the best kind of like a daily dram or daily glass or whatever. It's just kind of sweet, not too harsh. I just like the flavors. So I tried to go get that for this stream because I did a 1 hour consult for someone on lighting because they offered. I wasn't soliciting, but they wanted to buy some of my time to talk about some lights, and I said, cool, I'll buy some whiskey for the stream. They didn't have a Highland Park 18, so I went with this, and I'm not disappointed. It's pretty good. Dito lights are great. Yes, definitely use those babies. Jason Goebel says, I've been watching your channel for a while. Thank you for all the hard work you do to give us high quality and informational reviews. Well, you know what? Thank you so much. Here, let's do a split screen cheers here. Boom. I got to take it from there, pick it up, and then do the thing. There we go. All right. I'll just leave that up for a little while. Why not? I'm going to scoot over a bit so you can see me and the whiskey. There. Now it's a real stream. Sorry if this is still going. Kobe says, does the Rec 709 color triangle profile on the Titan X1, X2 help you to avoid chroma clipping? Have you done any intentional chroma clipping tests? You know, that is an excellent question. I've seen it, I've looked at it, and I've played with it a little bit, but I've not done any intentional chroma clipping tests. So, no, I haven't really needed to use it for that just yet. However, I am using a new production monitor from OC that I am in the process of reviewing, and that'll be out in the next week-ish. Can't really say any more than that on the monitor or about it or what it is or the model or anything because of embargo stuff. But I have been using false color with it, and just like any other thing that uses false color, I've not really knew much about false color until I started using it myself. And because I've been using false color, I've avoided clipping on most of the things in terms of the intensity, but I don't know if the chroma clipping, I don't even know if, maybe I have seen some chroma clipping, but just not noticed, you know? So it's probably a valuable feature, but I haven't used it or I've not noticed. I don't know, but I know it's there. Good. Thanks for asking. Now I want to play with it. Any water or just straight? Oh, just straight, man. You can't dilute this. This is a $100 bottle. I feel like I'd be doing myself a disservice if I put any water in this. Well, looks like we are pretty much all caught up on the comments for tonight. I had only top chat selected, but I feel like if I switch it over to live chat, then it is going to reset this whole thing. So I don't want to do that. Scroll through here, see if we missed anything. Probably not. If you did, just tag me if you have a question that I missed, and I'll be happy to go through it real quick. Yeah. I set up here, I'll show you something kind of fun. So in this the Stream Deck here, I've got this thing, this button here. It's downstream key, right? And that's a button that is attached to, it's actually controlling the A10 Mini Pro. And when I click on it, if the downstream key is active, then it's orange. But when it turns off, it goes black, right? Because it's actually communicating with the A10 Mini Pro hardware over the network. You have to type in the IP address of the equipment. Hit that button again, it turns orange, and then you can see the downstream key turns on. If you've been interested in live streaming, and you're wondering how to kind of improve your workflow in doing that, I think the Stream Deck is probably one of the most interesting things to get and learn how to use. It's really quite powerful. It can control a lot of applications. You could even have it run and this is not sponsored. I paid for it. I just bought this and started using it. You can even have it run like a shell script or an Apple shell script, bash commands. It can do a lot of stuff, it's quite fantastic, and I'm very impressed with it. So those are my thoughts on that thing. And I mean, I'm not a Twitch streamer. I don't have live sub counts and donation goals and things, but I am interested in trying to create a more engaging live stream, kind of like what I've been doing tonight, sharing the comments and trying to keep the production quality as high as possible as I can, being a single person controlling these streams by myself. And this tool has kind of helped me do that. Jason Goebel says, have you used the Atomos Sumo monitor? If so, how accurate do you find it as a reference monitor? I've not used the Atomos Sumo monitor. I saw it. I saw it at a trade show, I think, and it was an interesting looking monitor. But that's all I know about it. You know, I don't have one, so I can't really give you too much feedback. But what I can tell you is the OC monitors that I've been using are excellent in terms of reference monitors. And in fact, they're calibrated monitors, so you can do color grading on them if you want. And in terms of how you can power them with a VMAT battery, they have HDMI and SDI inputs, false color, zebras. It's a calibrated monitor. So I mean, for the price, the OC monitors are pretty fantastic. The cheap one, the one that I reviewed a few months ago, well, I don't know if it's cheap. I think it was on sale for like $700. It's usually like, I don't know, it's probably like $1,100 right now. That's the 15.6 inch one. It comes with a briefcase, and there's a hole in the bottom of the briefcase, and you can stick that on top of a C-stand and mount it without taking it out of the case. So it's a production case, and then you can open up the back, slap on the VMAT battery, and then it's got a sun hood. And it just sips battery juice, right? You could have that thing running all day. So those monitors are they're pretty great in terms of my experience so far. Vincent Xavier says, exposure on histogram IRE for brown skin on YouTube. Well, that depends, right? How, so are you shooting in log? Do you have a LUT on your monitor? So when I'm using false color, I shoot in log. I don't apply LUT beforehand, even though you're really supposed to apply like a Rec 709 LUT to use false color that way. But if you just understand what your exposure or your skin tones are supposed to be at when you're shooting log, then you don't need to apply the LUT beforehand. And I don't want to, because I want to know all the information that I'm recording. I want to know everything that's recoverable. So anyways, personally, when shooting in S-Log 3 sgamut.3.cine or whatever, I keep my IRE around between 50 and like 55 and 60 at the highest. And then I apply my own LUTs that I created when I had the red Komodo. And I created the Sony to red Komodo conversion LUT, which I sell all the LUTs that I made for $10. And I basically matched the color of what I was getting out of the red from the Sony. And so that's what I do. I do like IRE around 50 with false color, and it works really well for me. That's what I use. Art says, dude, those gamers have the Stream Deck turn on their lights, run OBS, start a stream, plus all the on-stream controls and beyond. Yeah, dude, it's quite a powerful piece of equipment and software, and I really just got it to learn about it because I know that a lot of people, use it for controlling their streams, and I was having difficulty doing or accomplishing certain commands and things, and it seems like it's helping a lot. So it's amazing. Leroy says, what monitor do you use for your production? So the monitor that I'm currently using, I can actually show you. Let's do this. It's right here, right? So this is my production stand, right? So if I hit a multi-view over here, boom, you can see that that's actually taking a wireless feed from my A10 Mini Pro over here. So this guy right here, that is a Mars 300 Pro or Mars 400S Pro, one of the two. I've got two different devices, but the receiver is right there behind that monitor, plugged in and being powered by the monitor itself over USB. And so that's taking the A10 Mini Pro's HDMI out over wireless and putting it into that monitor. Whoops. Gotta end the stream pretty soon. And this is how I monitor my live streams, and also how I monitor the videos when I'm creating them not on stream. It's just nice to have the whole thing set up wirelessly for the most part. The only thing I have plugged in is that camera over there. That camera is feeding into the A10 Mini Pro. but I could also have it be wireless with another ATEM or with another Mars device. But anyways, so I've got the MixPre 3 up here that I use generally for when I'm recording. I've got the camera mounted up there, and that's all mounted to just an impact rolling stand. And then this monitor is mounted to that same stand with just a magic arm, but it's OC's 21.5 inch monitor. I have a full review coming on it this weekend, so stay tuned for that. That's before this one though, I was using the OC 15.6 inch monitor, and I already have a review of that monitor on my channel. The monitor that I'm currently using is very similar to that. It's just a little bit bigger, a little bit brighter, and there's more details that I can't share about it just yet. But that'll be coming out this weekend, so stay tuned. Oh, and it's all powered with a single VMAT battery. That whole that monitor and transmitter and receiver situation, or monitor and receiver situation. Dan says, "Hi Tommy, I was going to ask about the hair light for bald people. I get a lot of reflection. Just seeing Caleb has something on DSLR video shooter. All the best from Spain." Yeah, so I've never lit a bald person, though in the next few years maybe I will. Yeah, got hair loss. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I guess just watch Caleb's video about the bald situation. I've never had to deal with that yet, so I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you. Michael says, "Hi, how are you liking the OC monitor after this time? Just ordered one." Oh, congratulations, Michael. Cheers. It is one of my most favorite production tools. I know the A7S III has a flip out screen, and that's fantastic. And I've got 3 or 4, actually 5 different 5-inch to 6-inch monitors. None of them are near adequate in terms of what I need. I don't like to attach a monitor to the hot shoe of my camera. I think that is amateur looking and irritating to work with. And when I'm trying to use something to monitor the stream out from my A10 Mini Pro, I cannot use a tiny little monitor like that. It is just completely inadequate. But the OC monitors, the 15.6 inch monitor, kind of got my feet wet. And I really, really, really like that one because of the minimal battery drain. I can run a stream for a month on that with a single VMAT battery. It's such a tiny amount of drain. And the production case is very nice. And the best thing about it, I think, is that you can power it with a VMAT battery, and it has a USB power port that will power something like a USB receiver for a wireless system, so you don't need to have an additional NPF battery attached to it. You just plug the battery in and the whole thing turns on. And that's why I really like the OC monitors. They're the most affordable option that does that. And they're very, very high quality in terms of the image that you get out of them. And they have all the exposure tools that I need, and you can assign hotkeys to them, so you can create 4 hotkeys with features like zebras, false color, mute the audio. It has built-in speakers. It's a fantastic monitor, and if you've never worked with a production monitor like that, then you're in for a real treat. So congratulations. Kobe says, "Today was stressful as we had to give a group presentation tonight in my graduate program. I was looking forward to relaxing after class with your live stream. Thank you for your hard work, Tommy." Well, shit, man. Thank you. You get a cheers, man. Boom. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching my silly streams. You guys are the shit. That's it, man. I love you guys. Thank you. Michael says, "I asked the OC question before you answered Leroy's question." What did I miss? Oh, sorry. So that's the thing. These pop-out chats, so sometimes the chat it shows it in like a different order than it's coming in live, which is like really kind of weird. So I'm sorry if these are out of order at all. Daniel Scott Films. Hi, Tommy. Well, hi, Daniel. Nick says, do you see a difference in the quality of light between a COB or panel LED or an actual tungsten? Sorry, Nick. Difference in the quality of light? Yes, absolutely. A true tungsten will give you an absolutely superior quality of light because a tungsten it's a full spectrum tungsten light, right? They're not trying to simulate tungsten with, electricity and phosphors and things like that. It's just the graph is like a straight line, right? But LEDs and panels and COB type panels and things, it's going to look kind of like that. So how can I demonstrate? I have a light meter. That's what I can do. Okay. Okay. Oh no. There it is. Okay. Now, a difference in quality of light between an LED panel or an actual tungsten. Yeah, we can answer this question for you. This is the Sekonic C800. It is the light meter that I use to measure all of my lights. Let's see. Here we go. I'm gonna put one of these lights behind me, blue, right? Let's go with the Godox. Just kind of like that, right? And I'm gonna measure it. Let's go over to the spectrum. And so this is really a hyperbole of an example, but so you can see that the spectrum shows that it's blue, right? It's mostly blue there. Yeah, so it's not a pretty graph. You can kind of see the graphic that they show that's up here. It's kind of spiky, right? It's not really, it's just up and down, up and down. That's what LEDs do, right? So they try and simulate what tungsten looks like with LEDs. And there's a thing called the spectral similarity index. Now, if I measure one of these guys, my Rhodolite Titan, oh, you can't see that, shit. My Rhodolite Titan X2. So here, one over here. Boom. So this is the graph showing the spectral similarity index. This will work. So the red little wave there you see, that's what a tungsten light should look like. And the yellow one you see there, that's like right here, that's what daylight should look like. So tungsten has more orange in it. And that's another reason why when you're lighting someone's face or skin tones, a tungsten light is going to look better than like daylight or an LED light because there's more red in your skin. There's more skin tones in a tungsten light than there is in like the LED lights and stuff like that. So what an LED is trying to do is simulate that curve. That's the spectral similarity index, right? And if it's not perfectly accurate, then it's not perfect. And LEDs cannot perfectly simulate tungsten or daylight. They get close, but they're not perfect. A perfect score of an SSI is 100. The best scores that I see for tungsten is about 85, or no. Yeah, for tungsten, we'll get like an 84 to 85 at the best, highest quality LEDs. And then for daylight, the highest that I'm getting is like 74 out of 100. So that's what the spectral similarity index is. And an actual tungsten or actual daylight is definitely going to be higher quality light. And that's all it is. But it doesn't really matter that much in terms of what you're trying to create. People have made better things than I've ever created with worse lights. If you're in the market for new lights, get the best that you can. It's going to improve in the future. Right now, the big thing is RGBWCL, RGBWCL, which is 6 color chips, or 6 color channels, which lets the Kelvin temperature that you select be super accurate. But it seems like the SSI score is a little bit lower, maybe. I don't know. They're all getting better. All the lights are improving in terms of when there's more color channels, there's more ways for them to manipulate that wavelength and match the actual spectrum that they're trying to match. And that's what it is. If you want perfect light, get a tungsten. I don't know. Maybe that answers the question, hopefully. Hey Tommy, any suggestions for people with glasses, how to deal with reflection if you only have one key light without any fancy setup? I think Caleb Pike has done a lot on talking about dealing with reflections in glasses. Just put the light up and to the side and then make sure your talent doesn't look at the light and cause a reflection to go down to your face. If you've only got one light, you can also use reflectors. So put it up there and then put a reflector down here to help with the fill. I have glasses, but I generally do pretty well. You can't really see any reflections, but again, I have, I guess, a pretty fancy setup. So there's that. Tungsten or HMI. Sorry. Thank you for all the useful information. Best lighting channel on YouTube. Well, thank you, Nick. I think I already answered your question as well as I can, though. Dunlop's photo. Hang on. Before we answer your question, I'm going to take a quick sip. Okay, back to the comments. Hi, Tommy. Which one would you advise me to buy? The Hollyland Mars 300 or 400? I do live streaming mostly funerals now and like to be mobile most of the time. That is a very interesting thing. Live stream funerals. I suppose it's only for the family, right? I just had to ask. Personally, I use the Mars 400S Pro and I really like it. But if you don't have SDI or a need for SDI, it's unnecessary. The Mars 300, I think it's the 300S. I think that one is a lot better than the original Mars 300 if you were in the market for one. Damn it, Tommy. Thanks, Ian. Thanks for showing up. Shoji Production says, any opinion on the Amaran lights by Aperture? I made a video about the Amaran. They improved the one thing that I had a real issue with, which was the fan noise. The build quality it's at a level of, if you're going to set it up, install it, and leave it there, then it'll work fine for you. If you're going to throw it around in a van all the time, I would recommend stepping up to one of their other lines. I try and steer anyone looking at the Amaran line to instead look at the 60D or the 60X. The 60X has quickly become one of my favorite lights. It's punchy, it's directional, you can modify it. It's got an amazing build quality, VMAP battery power, Sidus link. I would recommend the 60X or the 60D if you are considering one of the Amaran lights, because I think you'll just get more life out of it. I think it's just such a better light, in my opinion. Leroy says, tell us an incident that happened to you that reminds you to always double check your gear before a shoot. I'll have to come back to you on that one. I'm pretty meticulous and I obsessively double and triple check and prepare for like everything. So I haven't run into a ton of problems, but I'm also like a bit neurotic about making sure that everything is perfect. I guess there was this happened. Here we go. I know this happens probably once every 3 months. I'll completely record a video and not record the sound, or something like that. Like I just won't hit record on either my audio or on my camera. I'll mess something up there. I don't know how I do it. I still do it, I'll have to completely re-record videos sometimes because I won't make sure everything's rolling. I don't know. It still happens to me all the time. Just once every few months, you're looking at a second or a third take because I didn't have the first two. Polarizing filter to reduce reflection. That's a good idea, Daniel. Good call. If you have glasses, you can use a circular polarizer and rotate it to reduce the reflections on your glasses. That is a good call. Jake's channel. I'll be shooting string quarter in a hall with full tungsten light. What should I use for white balance for my A6400 Sony to get the classical cinematic look? You always want to get as close to reality in terms of white balance as possible. So go ahead and spend $7. I usually have one hanging around here all the time. There it is. If you're in a hall full of tungsten lights, just get a gray card. Use that. Do the white balance on the gray card. And then if you need to change your white balance after the fact, it's a lot easier to get away from reality than to get back to reality. A string quartet. There we go. So make sure you have proper white balance. That's my best bet. Turn it off auto white balance. Set it manually. Use the gray card. Set it properly. Then you can always adjust it in post. But if you screw it up while you're recording it, then it's going to be more difficult to fix. Classical cinematic look, that's your choice. That's artistic, Jason Goebel says, just ordered my 60X today. Hard to find light. Yes. That's the thing about aperture lights. They're fantastic. I love them. It's just hard to get your hands on them sometimes, Ian says, hope we can get it to you soon, Jason. Yeah. Ian works at Aperture. And so if you've got any questions for Aperture stuff specifically, this is actually his, so Ian the Brightman is his personal channel. So don't bother him with Aperture stuff there. He's got a great channel. You should subscribe to him. He's making interesting videos. He's been talking a little bit about the new series on, was it NASCAR racing or something like that? Anyways, he's cool. You should subscribe to him. He's got interesting videos. It's different than what I make, and I'm enjoying his content. But anyways, he works at Aperture, and you can also bother him on Twitter about stuff. Jake's channel, String Quartet. Yes. Vincent says, number one polarizing filter in ND variable. That is a good question. I guess, are we talking about number one by sales volume or number one on the internet? I don't know. I have Freewell's filters, and I think that they're pretty fantastic. I know that Peter McKinnon sells one, and everyone seems to really like it a lot. There's a bunch of brands that are in the higher end that I have no experience with. So I don't know if I can tell you what the number one polarizing filter is, but what I can tell you is Freewell has worked really well for me, and a lot of people have said a lot of positive things about it. And a lot of people have also positively reviewed Peter McKinnon's filters, but maybe that's because they want to be his friend. I don't know. I don't have any experience with those, so I can't really, anything that I tell you is hearsay. So I like Freewell's filters. They work for me. Jake's channel, you're welcome. Ian the Brightman says, loving the evolution of the lives, Tommy. Keep it up. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Oh, geez. I did not turn the comments back on. There we go. There we go. Loving the evolution of the lives, Tommy. Keep it up. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I was telling everyone earlier that I got this Stream Deck thing, and it has made managing my live streams so much easier so far. You can run macros on the A10 Mini Pro just by hitting a button. Like, I have a macro on the A10 Mini Pro that does a split screen between my main camera and my whiskey cam. And that is this button right here. And when I hit that button, boom. Because you can assign macros to buttons, right? Oh, I didn't put the whiskey cam back where it's supposed to be. There we go. And then I showed everyone this earlier, but when I hit this button here, it runs a clip. It'll show a clip that I've already pre-queued. But we've already watched that clip like we've already watched that clip like 5 times, so I'm not going to do it again. Anyways, let's get these comments back on here. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been an evolution and a personal education. Found one in stock in Utah. Congratulations, man. Dan says, "Are you cracked at Fortnite, my guy?" No. I don't play Fortnite, so I can't tell you, man. You know, I did play Fortnite a little bit, and it was really fun when I did. And I totally wrecked all the noobs. So yeah, maybe that's what you mean. I don't know. I'm probably really good at it. So when I was in the Air Force, I was obsessed with Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2 or whatever it was, Call of Duty, and I was really, really good at it. Like I would be back at our little apartment for lunch, and I would play Modern Warfare for like 2 rounds just to get it in. You know, I was obsessed. It was bad. Another camera channel, Drive to Survive reviews. Nice. Oh yeah. That's Ian's channel. Gotcha. Yeah, Companion plus the Stream Decks are super useful for A10 Minis. Yeah, definitely. And F4, I think that's the Drive to Survive stuff. Yeah, like I said, it's not me, it's him. It's his channel. So go subscribe to his channel. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TG Calloway. And our glass is almost empty, but let's go ahead and finish this one off. Cheers. It's tasty scotch. Yeah, this stream will continue to evolve. I think that I will probably work on some stinger transitions, things to, make things more interesting switching between the whiskey camera and my other camera. And then I didn't have the Pro Blends up here today just because I didn't have time to deal with it. Setting up a Pro Blends shot for every stream is incredibly time consuming, on top of trying to figure out what lights to use to try and keep this thing interesting and line out what topics to talk about. I don't know how people do it all the time, really. It's it's a once a week thing, and that's my limit, Maybe I don't need to keep it so different every time. Maybe it could just be the same simple format, just kind of like hang out. But then what's the reason to watch all the streams if it's always going to be the same thing? That's why I feel like I need to change it up all the time. It's just kind of this kind of back and forth that I go with myself. I do like learning how to improve this stream, particularly when I get new toys like the Stream Deck and things, and assigning hotkeys to turn stuff on and off, and I think that's fun. The thing I'm most excited for is being able to queue up clips beforehand and then just hit a button and play them, because I thought I was gonna have to buy the $700 Blackmagic Hyper Mini Deck Super Streamer Ultimate thing and then figure out a way to wall mount all that crap. I didn't want to spend that money. So it's nice that OBS is able to kind of fill that need, and you can just assign pages and pages of different scenes that you set up beforehand to just queue up a whole bunch of different clips. Now I'm going between do I need to film a bunch of stuff in 30 frames per second so I can show them on the stream, or do I just not care about it? Do I just screw it and say, well, this is filmed in 24 frames per second. The stream was 30 frames per second. Freaking deal with it. If you want to see the real clip, go watch the whole video. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. It's, trying to figure out what content I want to deliver at what quality and at what cost is this constant struggle that I feel like I'm not alone in. I feel like other creators have the same, similar but different problems. And these are only problems for me because whatever I deliver gets delivered, to you, and that's it. It's you're not really paying me, right? Except for the $5 super chat we got earlier. Thank you, by the way. It's just it's like a battle between my own conscience and my goals. What kind of battles do you guys have with that? Because I feel like it's like when you have a bad hair day. You're the only person that will probably notice, but you're completely stressed out about it and you feel like crap because you feel like everyone's staring at your hair, but in reality, they're staring at their own hair. Not really their hair, but they're thinking about their own problems. And, a couple of frames lagging on a live stream doesn't even matter, like maybe 500 to 1,000 people will watch this particular live stream ever, right? And 35 people watch it live, 35 to 50 tops. We get stressed out and think about so many things all the time, and hardly any of it matters. It's I'm doing the streams because I'm enjoying them and I think it's fun to learn. And I need to remind myself not to stress so much about the tiny little details because, I'll probably be the only person that ever notices. I don't know if that's just like a kind of a rant. Any thoughts on insuring your film equipment? Yes, do it. If your equipment is tied to your livelihood in any way, insure all of your equipment. There's a lot of ways to do it. But if you drop or break or a camera gets stolen or something like that, and that will slow down your ability to make money, then you 100% need to do the research and insure your equipment. I don't have any recommendations in terms of where to get that equipment insured. Check with your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance and get a plan for your equipment if you need one, which is if it's tied to you being able to make money. 100%. You cannot go without it. Personally, this is a hobby to me, so I don't insure everything that I have. If I drop something, I'm fucked. That's the way it is. But I plan on getting insurance for it all soon because I would like to eventually make this my livelihood. It's kind of a weird, it's weird to try and think about trying to transition as a software architect in Southern California to a YouTuber, right? With a small audience, semi small compared to true full-time creators, really. That thought is, I don't know. It's weird, right? It's hard to try and figure that out. But the thing is, the only thing that needs to make sense is the money. You just have to be able to replace your income doing this other activity. So to get there, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I do intend on doing a workshop, and I do intend on doing more things to make money with filmmaking and YouTube in particular. But setting aside the time for those things to get me to my goals is like the hardest thing ever. It's it's just, yeah, everyone has goals, but you need to, in order to achieve those goals, you generally have to change something that you're currently doing, and that's like the hardest thing ever. What's this comment Ian has on here? LOL, Aloysia meant your f-stop, Tommy. What did I do? Your stop. Oh, F4, your stop. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. On this camera, let me tell you. Hang on. Yeah. This is the 35mm f1.8. I have it set to f4. Sorry about that. Muhammad says, do you recommend the A6400 for a beginner, or should I get a full frame camera? What's your budget, I guess? I don't know. I mean, any modern camera is going to be incredible, right? It's going to be leagues ahead of anything that is like even just 5 years old. So the A6400 is a more than capable camera for a beginner. Do not get too concerned with the difference between full frame and micro four thirds. I filmed with a GH5 for a couple years, and that was a micro four thirds sensor camera. So sensor size doesn't matter, right? It really truly doesn't. So you'd be fine there. Daniel, and by the way, I've got to end this stream. So I'm going to try and speed through these comments here, finish this up. Anyone here trying to find an NVIDIA? I am not. Acquiring minds want to know. That was the F4 question. What you were calling a struggle should be part of the enjoyment of the craft. In my humble opinion, if it is all struggle and no longer passion, you may have to ask yourself smarter questions, just being real. No, of course it's a passion. Of course I love it. The struggle is trying to find the time to do it, because I have a life, I have a family, I have a wife, I have a house, I have dogs. I want to do it more than I want to create more than anything. The struggle is trying to take time away from the other things that I can't take time away from, you know? You have to find that time, and I call it a struggle. I don't know if that's the right word. It is what it is. Gas is real, 100%. Just saw an article saying the chip shortage could last into 2023. About the video cards. What's up from Belgium, and hi from California. Another camera channel. People here for you, not for how the stream looks. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that. I'm hoping crypto will crash. Man, I've got so much Dogecoin right now. So I don't know. I think Dogecoin is going to go to $1. You could stream on your phone for the same amount of people will watch. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Obviously, due to the audience you have, we'll appreciate the lighting and the fun extras you do. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's very kind. One of those. I keep revisiting my edit and spend way more time on the edit before uploading it. Just keep finding that one thing that needs to be fixed. Just publish it and move on. I've been in the same situation. Just publish it and move on. You'll thank yourself. Thank you. You're welcome. APS-C is less expensive than full frame. That is true. And I hear you understood that stress, more power, brother. Thank you. Go for the dream. And with that, we're going to end this one. I'm going to go have some, maybe some Taco Bell. I don't know. We'll see. Turn those comments off. If you want to continue the conversation, again, go find me on Twitter or Instagram, TG Calloway. And look, I have a splash screen. I can end this thing like this now. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.